1 Divine Offering.
Yep.
3 Gitaxian Probe.
Yep.
4 Vapor Snag.
Yep.
4 Mana Leak.
Yep.
4 Ponder.
Yep.
2 Sword of Feast and Famine.
Oh, whoa. War and Peace.
Oh man, huge difference. I mean, it is a big difference. 2 Thought Scour.
And then we got our lands.
Yeah, 22 lands, 3 Moorland Haunts, 2 Plains.
And the sideboard. 2 Ghost Quarter.
2 Ghost Quarter.
Yeah, keep going.
2 Ratchet Bomb.
Yep.
1 Amass the Components.
Yep.
3 Phantasmal Image.
Oh, 2 Phantasmal Image.
Man. 1 Metamorph. Phyrexian Metamorph.
Yep.
2 Consecrated Sphinx.
Yep.
3 Timely Reinforcement.
Yep.
1 Divine Offering.
Yep. Okay, so the difference is this deck, played by Kenny Castor, has Sword of War and Peace, whereas you have Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yes, Josh Cho has Sword of Feast
and
Famine.
Angelic Destiny ×1 for Kenny Castor. Kenny Castor on the right there, and Josh Cho on the left.
I am actually, here we are. We have, I'm going to pull out Jerry Thompson's deck, which is almost exactly the same. So, looks like these gentlemen had some conversation.
Oh yeah, and actually it is exactly the same as Josh Cho's version.
Yeah, he has Feast and Famine.
To a card, main and sideboard.
Yep.
Now, interestingly,
and
Josh Cho...
They both have Phantasmal Images scratched out and
Yep.
a Metamorph written in later.
Yep.
All the way down to the last minute changes. They're just like, we're going to play the same 75 regardless of what changes we decide to make.
Josh Cho, Kenny Castor, and Jerry Thompson all were at dinner with us all last night, amongst many other awesome people. I can see Caitlin over there smiling. She was there too. And like, it's not surprising to me that they all have basically the same 75. The difference with with Kenny running off message with Sword of War and Peace.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually, I think, going to be a very significant part of them playing each other. War and Peace, I think, is going to be far better in this
mirrors,
match.
Yeah. Because there are white creatures, not because of any of the abilities, but because, yeah, the crazy thing about the swords is you really don't care what the abilities are as long as there's something on them.
Now, I actually am, despite the fact that Kenny Castor has, I think, the advantage, I'm going to be rooting for Josh Cho here because he and I had a lot of conversation last night about zombie movies and about Aliens and Predator, the franchises. So just based on that, I've got my favorite here.
You're non-partial. This is has gone down.
Right. And
all right, then by default, I will root for Kenny Castor.
Sounds good. Josh Cho also has the correct opinion on zombies. Slow zombies are better than fast zombies. So
okay. Not much of a zombie guy myself. I prefer to think about things in the flesh. If you
yeah. When he and I were talking, he said that the last time we saw each other was in Pittsburgh, which was 1,000,000 years ago. I don't even like. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Both players are down to 6 in this match. Well, she had a good laugh over it.
Yeah, these guys worked together on or at least if they did not work together, they worked with Jerry in some capacity. But they probably worked directly together on the list.
Yeah. I believe before the player meeting, they're sitting at the same table.
Yeah.
Hashing out their respective deck lists.
But basically 2 really good guys.
Yeah.
When you're talking about magicians, these are people that would be fun to have slinging spells with you or going out in the town with. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh down to 5 cards.
Still laughing.
Yeah.
That's always good. Yeah, I don't like players that get angry when they mulligan.
It's magic.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much, if you can't handle the variance in Magic, pick up another game.
Yeah, go play chess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like, I think it's great like how different and dynamic the game is, and that's part of why it is so dynamic. Like, there's some like safeguards. Remember when you couldn't mulligan?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could mulligan in certain instances. Oh, here we go. Underway. Oh. A turn 1 Delver for both players. Looks like we have no probes. And
I think Josh is
pondering, perhaps?
Yeah, he's Ponder's on the stack, is in the process of
there it
resolving.
is. There's the Ponder.
Ponder, yeah, one of them's in his hand, one of them's in one hand, his hand is in the other hand.
Yep.
They both don't have very many cards because...
I'm going to be willing to guess that Josh does not have another land, and he's trying to decide, and there's no land in that Ponder. He's trying to decide if the flipped Delver is worth no land.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's my guess.
We'll see if you're
I'm right. Oh, I'm wrong.
Shucks.
Okay, he's not going to get another... Oh, look at this. Naturally flipped Ponder.
That's much better than what Josh has. Like,
Yeah.
I'd much rather just naturally flip.
Doing the work for it's not fun.
Yeah.
You can see there's a Ponder running the 3 Moon Ponder.
Josh Cho has my preferred textless Ponders. Oh man, those are nice.
It's funny that me, Patrick Sullivan, preferring Fishy Ponder over textless Ponder. He's like, because it's older.
Yeah, of course.
And an island from Kenny Castor. And I believe we will likely see a flip here unless Kenny has something to say about it. Oh, no.
Okay, so what probably happened is Josh Cho didn't have lands.
Yeah, saw the
A
lands.
couple of them.
Yeah, and no instants or sorceries. Yeah. That makes sense. That's the other...
The opposite of what you suggested.
Yeah.
Which also, the logic makes sense too.
And in for 1 lays a Geist.
So I've always been curious about Delver Secrets as a card. Delver decks are vastly preferred by stronger players.
Yeah.
Despite Delver of Secrets being a very high variance card.
Right.
And
Hold the thought for 1/2 second. Vapor Snag on the Delver, and then Geist kills Geist. But yeah, go on.
So board clears up a little bit.
And there's that Delver again.
With in general, obviously not 100%, but the better a player gets, the lower variance deck state type to play. You won't see
the more reward for being lower variance.
Right.
And then we have another Geist following up an attack by Insect Elaboration. Mana Leak. Yeah.
Texas Mana Leak. I love that too. Josh chose my kind of.
Here for me, I really like old Mana Leak. In for 1.
My friend Anthony played 9th edition Russian.
Russian's a cool language for cards.
Well, it's also black-bordered in 9th edition.
Yeah, that's a cool language for cards.
So, he's a real big fan of Russian cards. He bought a case of Russian 9th and plays any 9th ed card playable. I'll try and play it in 9th ed Russian.
Josh lays a Geist of St. Traft after combat passes. Kenny attacks for 3, and then lays another Delver.
So Josh has the all-important Geist advantage.
And the Geist lives. Now his life total is
super
low.
He has the not flip Delver disadvantage. And that
he can come in here for 7, but there are 2 mana open from Kenny. That represents potentially Snapcaster, potentially Mana Leak. Now remember that Josh Cho opened up with 5 cards, Kenny with 6.
Mm-hmm.
So they both were a little bit resource poor.
Josh, additionally on the play.
On the play.
So he probably doesn't have much to work with.
I think he's got 2 cards there.
Looks like it.
2 or 3, I can't quite tell.
Yeah.
And pre-combat, are we going to see something here? Kind of has that look. Pre-combat Snapcaster Ponder.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Pre-combat just to see before I make my attack what I want to do.
Right.
Oh, nope, he's going to just go on in.
No, one reason you would do it pre-combat is if it gets mana leaked, then you can go ahead and attack with your Delver.
Yep. Here comes...
But if it doesn't get mana leaked, see, this is why you don't want to play.
Yep, and now that's going to be an ambush Viper. Blah. Kills the Geist. Take 5. Josh's best play here, I think, would be alternately another Geist.
Yeah, but it looks like Snapcaster Ponder.
Snapcaster Ponder.
Which is actually not that bad, because, theoretically, it gives you a lot to flip the Delver.
Now, if this Delver of Kenny's flips, that is going to be so devastating.
And the game is over if it flips to a Vapor Snag. I'm pretty sure flipping either way.
Flipping
Josh
either
came
way
out.
is very likely to be that's it, folks.
Mhm.
Are we seeing a shuffle, I think?
Yeah. Interesting that neither player drew their 4th land for a Restoration Angel. Yep,
There
well,
it is, 4th land.
There's the 4th land, but
And natural
that's
flip.
game. That's pretty game.
And snap, Vapor Snag.
Yep.
A valiant fight. To the sideboards. Okay.
Well, if they have the same sideboard, pretty much.
I'm going to predict that amass the components will come in for both players. That after that, things get interesting.
I feel like the images come in.
That's fair. Kills a Geist.
Yeah,
Can make a Snapcaster.
Yeah, right. It's very important to at least get Geist parity. And obviously you can't get Geist advantage with images. But you can make sure your opponent does not have. And that's like the first fight in these lists.
What are the cards you don't like in this matchup? Mana Leak? Mana Leak has value.
Traditionally speaking, like before Avacyn Restored, both Mana Leak and Vapor Snag were the weak cards, simply because they didn't have enough to hit.
Yeah.
Now that Restoration Angel's in the mix, I feel like both cards get better.
Yeah, I agree. And then also, if somebody chooses to remove those cards, and then you choose to bring in Consecrated Sphinx, that's just absurd. On the other hand, if you bring in Consecrated Sphinx
and they
keep
them.
those cards,
yeah,
then that's not so good on the other end.
I feel like there's just going to be a light updating. I could see only the 3 or 4 clones, depending on which list you want to talk to.
Yeah.
And like shaving on Mana Leak and Vapor Snag, but not completely. Like, I would be comfortable with like 2 Mana Leak, 3 Vapor Snag, or 3 Mana Leak, 2 Vapor Snag, depending on where you felt you were in the Geist of Saint Traff.
Right.
Because Mana Leak's pretty solid against Geist as well. It's really important. Like, there's always. I mean, Jerry T has been a proponent of this. There's 3 fights in the Delver. You want to have Geist advantage, then equipment advantage,
Yep.
and then Moorland Heart advantage.
Yep.
You can have parity on 2 of those 3 things fairly easily. I guess the Divine Offering is coming in for both people, because like an unanswered sword is game over. And it's so good that you can't even like next level it. You can't even take your swords out.
You get too much value.
Yeah, they're just so good if you have them.
I feel like they both right now are engaged in a slight game of rock, paper, scissors with their sideboarding choice.
Yeah, I mean, especially knowing what each player, each of them have.
Yeah.
But I would be inclined to like shave, maybe even like go to 2 Mana Leak, 2 Vapor Snag, and bring in 1 Divine Offering and 3 clones, depending on it.
I would be definitely inclined to bring in 1 Sphinx, just as like a Miser Sphinx. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't mind going down to 2 Gitaxian Probes, doing a little bit more shaving there as well, because I guess I have found when I have played the mirror that the information's useful a lot of the time, but the life is also useful a lot of the time. And
I don't feel it's much of a life battle except for.
This might be different with the Restoration Angel
turns,
build.
It's how many turns you're allowed to be behind.
Well, I mean, this might be different with the Restoration Angel build, but with the older builds,
like Invisible Stalker.
Yeah, sometimes you
the
get
life is important.
Sometimes I I have not played the Angel builds against each other, but playing the older builds, sometimes what would happen is you'd be in a position where they can just kill you maybe if they draw a Vapor Snag, and oh, there it is, you're dead.
Yeah, absolutely. The Stalker mirror matches were more of a race.
Yeah.
Because neither person could interact with their opponent's Stalkers.
I do love a Stalker.
Yeah, and instead, so like that's when life matters.
You
get a Stalker. This one,
is a different world then.
Yeah.
Different world then. Okay.
This one you can see, like, for example, in game 1, Kenny had an advantage put us on the board. Like if Josh was able to kill the Delver, Kenny loses his advantage. That's
It's actually interesting when you look at some really surprising matchups. One of the things when we were doing preparations for Worlds, Cuneo and I were working on the blue-white lists, and our lists were pretty close, and we had some disagreements about what he should play, what he shouldn't play, and some of the people ended up playing my list, and he was the one that stuck his guns with his list. But one card we both rejected, and at the same time, we're like, oh god, this card's almost good enough. Gitaxian Probe in a control mirror is actually really, really crazy. Because if the gate's open, I mean, you just be like, oh, I'm gonna...
a lot of time, well, not as much like anymore when people, when you need to resolve 6-drops, but like back in the day, like, a lot of times, like, people are like, all right, the gig's up.
Yep.
And then that was part of like, all right, you assume both sides have a ton of counter magic until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, because the problem is,
like Gitaxian Probe,
if you open up and they have the counter magic, and so you like fire, and then they're like stop, and then they untap and then just wreck you.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Delver matchups are moving towards a slower, more board presence based thing, then the life won't matter as much, and the probe knowledge might. To be like, I see you're totally blank to this Sword of War and Peace dropping into play and being equipped for all of my mana.
Yeah. To be fair, like the open, I've talked about a little bit about the 4 open mana being really scary again. Well, it's less scary if you know what's there.
Yeah.
It's still super scary if they have both a Snapcaster and a Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
They can just still do anything. But it's just like Gitaxian Probe and like the Fairies Mirror is would be unbelievable. And I think this might be getting to that point. Obviously no Bitter Blossoms in this deck, but it might be getting to the point where, yeah, you just have to play around too much at some point.
I mean, when they're exposed, just going for the throat, so to speak, is such
not the removal spell.
Yeah, not the removal spell. Is such a powerful thing to be able to do. And the thing is that since you don't know, here we have opening a Gitaxian Probe.
Yeah, speak of the devil.
Yeah, since you don't know, making the wrong call can be too costly.
Right. Alright, so Kenny has 4 lands, but not a Moorland Haunt. He has a Vapor Snag, a Gut Shot, and a Geist of Saintraft. Actually, a pretty solid opener because he's not gonna lose quickly. He has at least 1 layer of protection for both ways that Josh can attack.
I mean, that
has a Gut Shot for a Delver and a Geist for Geist.
Yep.
And those are the 2 ways you can lose early. Actually, the more I think about it, like I saw this Vapor Snag. I'm not sure when Kenny's gonna get like good solid value from it. Like it's a general multi-purpose card, but if you have Dismember in your deck, I'd rather have that every time.
Yes. And Mana Leak that Josh does not know about yet.
Did you do Mana Leak? Because he also drew a Delver Secrets that turn. I was wondering why he didn't play it.
We're gonna see a Geist get leaked, and I bet you if
Josh had seen the Mana Leak, then yeah,
boom.
It's hard to
And then Josh needs a clone or a Geist. Let's look for one.
Right, with a Classy Ponder.
And the game can go away right here in this moment, depending on what Kenny draws. Like, let's say that Josh does not answer it. If Kenny were to draw another Mana Leak or a Snapcaster,
the game's
that would
over.
be, wow, good times.
Even if all Josh has is like Snapcaster Ponder, like I still feel Kenny's in a driver's seat. Like there are my
there we go. Take that.
Josh needs to have that, and that's why the images are so important. Like this is such a threat that you can't afford to be behind on Geist advantage.
Delver.
Alright, so that leaves Kenny drew another Vapor Snag, so that leaves his hand as Gut Shot, Vapor Snag, Vapor Snag.
Kenny does not know the top of his library right now.
That's true. And Josh Cho has a bunch of cards that we have no idea about because Kenny is not probed. I find it interesting that both of these players decided on 3 probe. Very much a 3 probe, 2 thought scour split even. Josh Cho with 5 mana and a bunch of unknown cards. Huh.
What you got, Josh?
Notable Star City blue player. Best finish from that team.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan. I'm joined by Adam Prozac. This is round 6 of the Star City Games Open Series in Nashville. Welcome to SCG Live, everybody. And we have a Snapcaster for a Ponder? Probe for a probe. What you got in there, Kenny? You still got a Vapor Snag? You still got a Gut Shot? What else you got?
I think
something I can't see.
It's 2 Vapor Snags and a Gut Shot.
2 Vapor Snags and a Gut Shot now. Okay. And here's a Geist. The coast is clear, as we're talking about before.
Yeah. That's actually an excellent probe there.
And nothing.
Not a spell.
Nothing revealed of use by the Delver. Is that a Geist?
Can't really tell. Looks like he wants to. It kind of looks like one. It looks like a Moorland Haunt, maybe.
Yeah, it's a haunt. And now I think we're trying to figure out what life totals are at.
Yeah. This looks like 16. I think the ones on screen are correct.
16 to 20 is what I see.
So, confirm that. They're still. Huh. So
what you got in your yard?
These gentlemen sorted out, they're just trying to...
He's like, no one's attacked me successfully.
Right, there's been no attacking, so it's easy enough. All the probes have been for life.
Yep.
Pretty sure it's just been the probe and the flashback probe.
Oh, they're trying to figure out if he drew the card from the probe.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, then we can do some counting of cards. This will be resolved easily enough.
Yeah.
This is actually a really big deal. You know?
Yeah. Do you want a card?
At the Madison event, I cast a Brainstorm and put 3 cards back, and this was on, I think, turn 2, and thankfully, not enough time had passed where it would be too hard to unravel. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, thank God, I get to fix this. It's the worst Brainstorm ever.
And a card in Legacy is a big deal. Yeah, I mean, that's why I actually love playing mirror matches. A lot of people just, I try to just play like bad decks to avoid mirror matches. I actually love mirror matches for cards like things like this, where like every resource, every ounce of every resource like matters.
Right. I like some mirror matches. There are others I'm not too excited about.
There's some miserable ones like
Jund I did not like.
Jund was okay. A lot of time, the problem with Jund is like a lot of times both people are just off the top of their deck way too quickly.
Yeah, that's
and
how
so
I
there
felt
weren't.
About it.
Yeah, there weren't like.
I think
different lines of play you could take.
I was not good at it compared to the people in my area, but I loved the Fairies mirror. Mm-hmm. The mirror that I would play endlessly for cash and prizes would be red mirrors. There are very few people that I feel like would be in a good place playing red mirrors against me.
All right, so we got. Come on, Josh, draw for your probes. All right. Yeah, he goes in top 4's the Pro Tour. Just think he can, not draw for his probe. I wonder what the initial ruling, initial distinction was.
What mirror would you want to play if you had a mirror choice?
I really enjoyed the old Revelark mirrors.
Wow, those are nuts.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of tempo involved.
Yeah.
I loved counterbalance mirrors. I'm a sicko.
Okay, that's interesting. So my two favorite mirrors would be Goblin Guide Era Red mirrors and Psychotog mirrors.
Psychotog mirrors were super interesting, but like I don't think I had developed enough as a Magic player by then. Like
my least favorite mirrors, you said one of them, counterbalance mirrors.
Oh my god, I love them.
Oh god.
It's such a battle. Like, they're awful for camera.
They're terrible for camera.
Watching a counterbalance mirror is miserable. I will actually turn it off if like you get a counterbalance mirror up here.
It's Ben Weinberg playing Legacy.
Yeah, right.
Counterbalance. Now, the other mirror that I do not like playing is Maverick. I
think those are interesting.
Oh, I think they're amazing to watch, but playing them, I do not think I could possibly play that mirror for very long without dying.
I've played Maverick once. It was in a local Legacy tournament, and I had a really interesting Maverick mirror. I played one mirror, and it was just like super interesting. I felt like I made a bunch of mistakes, and so did my opponent.
Yeah.
Like we just talked about the matches, like, well, I wasn't sure what to do here, or here, and I could sit here and talk about it and still not know one way or the other.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan. I'm joined in the booth by Adam Prozac, and we are discussing mirror matches as we wait for the decision on this mirror match. Josh Cho, Kenny Castor, waiting to find out if Josh gets to have a card.
Josh Cho may or may not have drawn a card for his Ponder or for his Gitaxian Probe.
We will find out.
I've done the worst. I had a really bad habit when I first started playing the Turbo Land deck.
Yep.
I had the worst habit of all time of not drawing off my Ponders and drawing off my Hallamur depths.
It's a bad habit.
I've also shuffled my Hallamur depths. I like look at the top three. I'm like, okay, I'll shuffle. I can't do that because it was so similar mechanic. Like you pick up 3 cards, rearrange them.
Yep.
It took me a little bit of getting used to. I don't think I would have wanted to play that deck in an open.
Discovered at one point during the end of some standard event recently that I had been doing 1 life to myself every time I sacrificed a land, but it was standard and it was evolving wild.
I do that. I never actually mark off the life. My opponent catches me a lot. He's like, nobody loses life for that one.
Here we go. It looks like we have a card draw there for Josh Cho.
Man, just all the free cards.
Okay. So now trying to figure out what else has happened. I think that we've moved a little bit further into the game. A gut shot, perhaps, to kill the Snapcaster?
Yes. Kenny played his Moreland Haunt, gut shotted the Snapcaster Mage, and passed to Josh.
Okay.
I believe it is Josh's turn.
Now this is game 2. Kenny Castor's up 1-0. We have a Ponder again from Josh. Josh puts back some cards, does not shuffle it.
And even draws
something
a card.
Good. There we go.
Now what an amazing card.
You can top 8 the Pro Tour too. Josh is awesome, but one of the things he's an excellent player. One of the things to remember, it's so much easier to watch Magic than to play Magic.
Oh, absolutely.
And we see our first Moreland Haunt token from Kenny. And a Divine Offering.
The ugliest Divine Offering of all time. That is a Chronicles Divine Offering.
Yeah. At least use the Mirage Divine Offering. That's way better looking.
Or I've seen I believe it's
Legends. Oh boy.
All right.
Angel.
You know, we've talked about this card so much today, and this is our first time to see it, and it gets Vapor Snagged.
It's still going to do a lot of work. I mean, that Angel basically means I'll take some damage this turn. In fact, a fair amount of damage. A total of 8, including the snag. But there's no answer that Kenny has yet. You know, it's...
I mean, that's the thing about these Delver decks is, like, answers don't have to be permanent.
Yeah. Well,
we're talking about, 3 damage for 1 mana and 6 damage for 3 mana. You don't have to cast too many Vapor Snags.
Well, this is kind of what I was talking about that 2 life situation, where it can matter a lot. And Kenny, I believe, has a creature He's going to main phase the Angel here. Josh
And then,
does just to...
untap his Geist. Oh, that's why he main phases it.
Yeah, so we can cast a Phantasmal Image. That is really powerful.
Yeah, and that's gonna shut Kenny's offense down, and that's.
Wow.
Oh, just kidding.
Oh boy, that's death. Is that death? That is it. Exactly on the nose,
yeah.
down to 0.
Wow.
Wow.